time people go ahead and see this, it's going to be overwhelming for them. Any suggestions for people who are overwhelmed, maybe right now, first-time viewers, first-time listeners, first-time participants? Any ideas, any suggestions that you would give to people?
Yeah, just approach it with an open mind and take it a piece at a time and understand it. And just remember that at the end of the day, the system has integrity, and it will work the way that the system's set up to work.
I don't know what it was, probably 12 years ago now, Tom, where I heard that for the very first time. I thought I was thinking of people having integrity, but I never thought of systems having integrity. And so I like, it was so cool. It was like an epiphany, like an awakening for me. And it helped me to think totally different. So why do you think people have a hard time trusting the integrity of the system, Tom?
Well, I guess primarily because it really gets back to the first time you see a system. When a system's new to you, you haven't seen the results yet. So if you haven't seen the results yet, then it's hard to understand does the system really work. So what you have to start out with is like the end in mind. And the end in mind is that the system was built to produce some results. You have to believe in the system that it will produce the results that you want it to produce for you the first time you start it. After you go through it, then you're going to know that it will produce them. Therefore, you have faith in the system. But in the beginning, you don't. So you just have to believe that it will do what the system's set up to do.
Nicole, you started to be participating in the Engineered Clarity Community, EC2, when you were a teenager. I remember, I remember our first interactions. And so, you're a young businesswoman, very successful in so many different areas. So, learning. What suggestions would you give for people, maybe millennials or otherwise, in trusting the integrity of the system? If you're talking, you're on mute.
I said, just do it. You never know what's going to work. I know on my journey, there's so many things that I'd never even heard of, and I was like, okay, I'll try it. And sometimes it'll shock me. It'll come out where I didn't even anticipate it happening. I recommend taking a lot of notes and writing down any possible question that you could have, because you're not going to understand if that question isn't unanswered.
So why, Nicole, do you think it's so challenging for people to go ahead and just try something? Like, I don't know how it's going to work. I'm just going to give it a try. Why do you think that's so hard, Nicole?
I think Tom said it. He said when the system's new and they haven't seen results, or they don't know how to use the system to produce results, it could be hard for them to want to invest in that, especially if they're an analytic.
So do you look at yourself as being very strange and unusual, Nicole?
No, I don't.
Tom, do you look at yourself as being very strange and unusual?
Not for the most part.
And Tom and Nicole, do you look at me as being very strange and unusual?
Yes.
Yes.
How come I'm not part of you guys' group?
Because you think differently than we do.
Yeah.
What does that mean, Tom?
That means just the way that you operate. It's almost like, and I don't want to step on your toes here, but it's almost like you're never satisfied that whatever it is, there's always the next level to go to. And so you always are exploring and moving and pushing and moving forward, which is absolutely outstanding. I wish I was kind of more that way. So yeah.
So why do I think you are that way, and why do I think Nicole's that way?
I don't know, because I don't think I've demonstrated that. I don't know.
Nicole?
I don't know either.
So why do you think I'm strange and unusual? I think you both are very much like me, and I think you're both very strange and unusual. So why do you think I'm strange and unusual, Nicole?
Well, I know for me, I struggle with follow-through and execution. I have tons of ideas, and I have strategies to implement them, but then when I go to implement, it's like I get lost and everything. And I think the way, as Tom said, the way that your mind works, you can think of it, implement it, track it, and change it while the car is moving. So you're just thinking ahead, and I don't have that thinking yet.
Well, I think you do.
Well, I mean, just look at the diagram you have on the screen.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that you did there.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell I could have come up with that.
Yeah, but what you do is, Tom, you recognize genius in other people. And so I'll never forget when I explained to you why, see, think, and do and internalize have, red lines around it. I'll never forget your response. You just started laughing. You said, I should have known. Like, I should have known. like there's a reason for everything. So what you do is you have these, like, supernatural, superpower gifts to go ahead and see genius in people that they don't see in themselves, and then that reaffirms their genius, and they start to recognize how amazing and how special they are, which is really all about the psychology of people. So how do we get the most from the course? We need to internalize. So Tom, I presented a challenge, a problem, a frustration I'd had for 10, 20 years. Like, people will say, Mark, I understand what you're saying. And I'm like, they don't. And because I have social autism, when I say, no, you're clueless, they don't like that. And I'm like, okay, but you are. You have no idea what I'm talking. You have no idea as the work went in. No idea. So I'm so frustrated, and I say to Tom, I'm like, Tom, like, why do people do this? And he's like, oh, they don't internalize it. I'm like, what? That's amazing. Like, I could feel the energy. I could sense, like, Tom was right. Like, he gave me the answer. Oh, my gracious. And then I said to Tom, like, that's amazing, Tom. How do you help people internalize it? He's like, I don't know. And the next day, come up with the internalization model. So those who have the strongest abilities, skills, and disciplines to get the most from the course are those who have the ability to internalize things, learn to internalize at a deep level on self-command as a reflex. Each lesson will be life-changing, will be a life-changing lesson. So what I've done is I've studied Tom very, very deeply. And so he said to me probably 10 years ago, Mark, do you know why you benefit from me being on, these calls? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm open. He says, because I shared stories. So the last 10 years I've been studying to learn how to tell stories, and now I'm a pretty good storyteller. And a lot of those stories are Tom's stories. I prefer it when he tells it because it's so much more powerful when he shares it than when I share it. But Tom and Nicole and Paul Weiner are amazing at internalization. So I've been studying who has this gift. And so, Randy, do you believe you have the gift of internalization?
I do, yes.
Okay. What gift do I think is stronger in you than your internalization gift?
Compared to what?
Another gift that's a lot stronger than internalization. You have a gift that, like, almost nobody on the planet has.
Maybe focus or commitment or trustworthiness.
I'm thinking
like
integrity.
Okay, that's kind of a summary of all those.
Yeah. Yeah, and so,
Well, thank you.
yeah, like when Randy says he's going to do something, like he does it. Like he's a bulldog. Like he sinks his teeth in, vice grip, like it's insane. Like if Randy says he's going to do something, he does it. Well, what if it's inconvenient? Doesn't matter. What if he's got a lot of business? Doesn't matter. What if he doesn't want to do it? Doesn't matter. Like the guy is a machine. Like he is an absolute machine. The other thing that he has is a gift that Tom, in the decade plus that Tom and I have known, there's only one time I think that Tom has ever said that he and I are alike. I don't know if he remembers it, but I do. He said, Mark, you and I are different from other people. And since he had never said it before, I'm like, how is that? He says, you and I are quick starts and slow stops. I'm like, oh, yeah. Randy is a quick start and a slow stop. Most people that are quick starts are quick stops. People who are slow starts, slow stops. Very few people on the planet are quick starts, slow stops. I mean, it was like genius. And so to learn how to internalize in this course, in the backstage passes, we're going to go ahead and learn, like in the Matrix, where they plug the cable in the back of the neck and they download all of this stuff. This is what we're going to do with Tom and Nicole and Randy and Paul Weiner. Like, you guys have got to help us to learn. But the challenge is you guys internalize things based on reflex. You don't think about it. You just do it. It's just reflex. Like Tom, he didn't think about, when I had my problem, I'm like, here's a frustration. I'm so frustrated with people. Like my heart is not to vaporize people. Like I don't want to tell them they're stupid. I don't want to say, no, you're not listening. Like, I don't want to do that. I have 5 grandkids, and I have a huge heart. Oh, check out phase 2 of The Secret About Time. Randy, phase 1 of Secret About Time, you're going through the 30-day challenge. Like, nobody does that. Like, everybody whines and complains. A third of the people you ask what their biggest challenge is, they'll say time. 100%, almost 100%. Of what people say their biggest challenges connects back into time. If you said, if you had more time, would it help you solve your problem? And they'll say yes. So there's 30-day challenge. Why would you recommend, Randy, that everybody go through that?
Well, there's a lot of good systems and strategies that's built into the course. And the one thing in particular that I know was helpful was that basically there's 10 lessons and then you repeat them 3 times. And that's how you internalize things, right? It's learning it over and over and over and over again.
Nice. And so what I told Randy is
I don't know if I believe that, though.
Go ahead, Tom.
That's just memorization. To me, the internalization process is that at some point I really believe in it. I mean, it's part of me. And when that belief system kicks in, then my reaction or my output changes. And when my reactions change, then my outcome changes. And that, when you can get to the point that you can actually see your outcome change, that to me that's when I know that I've internalized the process.
Yeah, and I agree with that. It's kind of the next step. It's just that the process of going through the program 3 times, it's not just about memorization. It's to get you to the point where you don't have to remember it and it becomes part of your thought process. Now it's internalized.
What if you could do that instantly?
That would be wonderful.
So you guys have got to watch the next 10 videos on phase 2, The Secret About Timer with my granddaughter. And the first video is going to just and they're like, I don't know, 3-4 minutes. She's 2.5 years old. The second video is she's crying. It's unbelievable. The third video is like, it'll just blow your mind. But you have to be part of Engineered Clarity EC2, Engineered Clarity Community, to participate in these. To participate in EC2, you got to invest a whopping $20 a month. There's no long term. You jump on, you just do it for a month, and if you're done, fine. But I think you'll find it to be an infinite community. It's an infinite community. It's unbelievable. I've never participated in anything like it. Randy, I know you got to go. Anything else you have before you take off?
No, good session today. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's still drive into the internalization model. Tom, how much do you have? How much time?
I've got a little bit more.
Okay, so in the internalization model, we broke it down. And so when Tom went ahead and says something, I internalize it instantly. Instantly, I internalize it. His story's everything. He said to me a few years ago, he's like, your mind is just, it's like it's insane, Mark. I say something once and 7 years later, you'll recall it. Because it took me a year to connect with Tom. And so I value, because I worked really, 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 really hard to get that connection. Most people would have given up, but I didn't. So I value that relationship and that connection a lot. He's invested a lot into me. He's invested into my kids, my sons, my daughters. Like, unbelievable. And he's believed in me more than my own parents believed in me. And he's believed in me more than anybody's probably believed in me. And so the psychology of people, when you learn to believe in people the way, and care for people the way Tom does, the way Bev does, it's insane what will happen. And so when Tom said he didn't know, I get a lot of that too. Like I was we're going to keep that for the added bonus session. So we're going to take a 5-second pause for media purposes, and then we'll go ahead and jump back in. Here we go.